presentation is over Johann Comenius. He is known as the father of modern education. He lived from 1592 to 1670. This is a quote by him. I absolutely love it. It says, "Children ought to be dearer to parents than gold and silver. Their pearls and gems may be discovered from a comparison between both gifts of God. For gold and silver are fleeting and transitory. Children are immortal inheritance." He is known as the father of modern education because of his many reforms advocated for the public education. He wrote over 40 books. Two of his most popular is The Great Dialect and Orbis Pictus. Orbis Pictus was the first picture book. He also supported gradual learning of comprehensive concepts and was a proponent of effective schooling. He was born March 28, 1592 and died November 14, 1670. He was the youngest of 5 children, the only son with 4 older sisters. Both his parents were members of the Protestant group Bohemian Brethren, and both of his parents died at the age of 12 and 2 of his sisters. So he had a rough childhood and he had to go live with his aunt, and he attended school at Prevro and a university at Hebron and Heidelberg. He married Magdalene and had 2 children, but unfortunately all 3 of them died from the plague. But even though he had a rough childhood and hard life, he still made great contributions to the educational world. He lived during the 30 Years' War, which caused him many of troubles. Because of his religion, he had to move around a lot, because if you didn't convert to Catholicism, then they searched for you and tried to hunt you down and kill you. And because of that, his home was burned twice. The first time he barely made it out alive, and the second time around it burned most of his books and his manuscripts that he had written. His philosophy of education is fanaticism, which is derived from the Brethren's religious beliefs, realist philosophy, and his personal experiences. Because he had to travel so much, all those experiences combined helped him to develop his philosophy. He developed many principles to be applied to education. Nature has set an appropriate time for growth and development. Natural operations are orderly and sequential. Nature proceeds gradually. Nature, moving to an end, completes whatever it begins. Which basically boils down to, if children are taught when they're not ready, they're not going to understand, they're going to become frustrated, they're going to waste time, and they're ultimately going to fail because they're not developmentally ready. Everything goes hand in hand, which is how teaching should be. He supported effective schooling, which he believed the human cycle had stages of development, and teachers should be aware of it and teach according to that, which is why he organized the school into grades that we have now. Children learn on gradual level, and their grade corresponds with that. Teaching and learning should be natural, efficient, effective, and he wanted children to be welcomed into a school environment that was warm and secure. He took a radical stand against corporal punishment. He wanted discipline to be fair to everyone, because everyone should be treated the same. His most famous books, The Great Dialect, was written in 1632, and it was a developed plan for improving schools. Orbis Pictus is his other famous book, which was the first picture book. It's a great idea to incorporate for the children to make a connection between text and pictures. And these are other many books that he had written, and most of these were written during the hard times of his life, so it really explains what he went through. He realized education in 3 ways. The first is the school systems, which I mentioned before. He organized the school organization into kindergarten, elementary, secondary, college, and then university. The second way is educational theories. He said that children learn a natural pace from simple to complex theories, which, makes sense, simple to hard. And educational methods. He wrote several textbooks on ways that teachers should instruct and how things in the classroom should operate. His ideas on education derive from the intersection of his theological and philosophical beliefs. He made a large impact on European education, and some of his work is still used today. If he was still alive today, he would probably incorporate technology a lot and be able to increase what we already have and make it even better. Ending with another quote from him. The proper education of the young does not consist of stuffing their heads with a mass of words, sentences, and ideas, dragged together out of various authors, but in opening up their understanding to the outer world, so that a living stream may flow from their own minds, just as leaves, flowers, and fruit spring from the buds of a tree. Children were always a priority to him, and that's how it should be when we are teaching our students. And that's it.